Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of An Experiment Called Life with Alex Mackenzie. That's me. As always, this episode is brought to you by Punchline Nutrition. So for all your supplement needs, go to punchlinenutrition.com. My favorite is NeuroBoost. So NeuroBoost is a nootropic, which is like a multivitamin for your brain. I take it before I do any writing, before I podcast, before I do my stand-up comedy, to make sure I am as mentally sharp as possible. And the Happy Camper Comedy Tour is live. We're back at it. We just had our last show in Moncton. It was probably, I think it was my best performance I've ever had. I was very happy with it, especially since I got my special taping coming up this weekend in Fredericton. I think there's like 20, maybe 30 tickets left for that. And we're also in Charlottetown, St. John's, Newfoundland, and Halifax in the next few weeks. So go to Happy Camper. No, that's not true. Go to alextellsjokes.com and grab yourself some tickets. We're doing Ontario and Quebec as well. And the Northwest Territories. So many shows. You're going to love it. Go get them. It's great. So on this episode of An Experiment Called Life, I wanted to talk about how I make a living as a comedian. It's one of the most common questions I get asked. Is like, how do you make any money doing comedy? And I thought I would share that with you guys. So I am a fully independent artist, so I produce all of my own shows, and my main revenue stream all comes from ticket sales. Pretty much for me, if I'm not selling tickets, I am not making money. There are other ways to do it. I know that royalties are a thing. I have some friends who have royalties. They record an album and then you put it out on, in Canada, it's mostly Sirius XM, and then it gets played on the radio and you get paid per play. So I know some comedians do very well with that. I haven't had any luck with that yet, but I'm sure one day I'll be able to get an album on there and start recording that. Another one, some people make money online with video views. I know a lot of American acts do that, and my American comedian friends make money through like Meta or TikTok, for example, for their views. I haven't really had any luck with that. The only thing I've ever had money paid for online, I mean, Facebook pays a little bit. Like, I think I had some videos, the longer ones pay more, but the biggest check I ever got from Facebook, I think, was $70, which was in American, so that was like 830, I think, Canadian. I'm not too sure of the conversion, but something like that. And then TikTok, I've had some brand deals. But still, again, very few and far between, and not that lucrative. The most money I ever made was actually a TikTok ad. I don't know if you guys remember the ShamWow guy. It's like Vince from ShamWow with that little rag. So he was running like what was it? I guess it would be like a campaign where he was trying to find the next ShamWow. So if you had an idea that you thought could be the next like infomercial thing to sell, he wanted you to submit it. And then he hired a bunch of influencers to do promo for it. So it was, I ended up doing that, and it paid pretty good. I think it was like $1,200 US for the video. So that was the most that I've ever been paid for anything online. And that was like 3 years ago. I haven't really had anything in the recent years. I had a deal with Ridge Wallets for a while until I got canceled because of my jokes, because I just write those dumb jokes every day. And it was so bad. I picked like... I got like a free backpack, a free wallet, and $300 US per post, and I did 2 of them. So I got 2 backpacks, 2 wallets, and $600, I guess. But then they wanted more, and then I wrote a joke and they didn't like it, and then I just haven't ever resubmitted or anything. But what was the joke? It was like, because their whole shtick is that their wallets are super thin, that they're like really thin wallets, and they're like so comfortable and tiny. And so I was like, said, picking a wallet's like picking a wife. The thinner, the better. And they did not care for that at all. So yeah, haven't gone back to that. But yeah, my main source of income coming around to it is ticket sales. Basically, if I'm not selling tickets, I'm not making money. And then every show is a risk. So I just basically, how it works is I book a venue. So I started out with like pubs and bars, and then community halls and theaters, and now I've done 2 arenas, well, the same arena twice. And how it works is I just rent the venue, and then you pay like a deposit to hold it, and then I have a graphic designer make a graphics kit, and then we send that off to the venue, they get the tickets on sale, and then I start Facebook marketing campaigns and try and sell tickets to the shows. And then I just hope that I sell more than it costs to produce. And the hardest thing, I guess, like I would say on average, to do like a theater show, like what this Happy Camper tour is. So like Moncton, I just got back Moncton. On average, it's around $6,000 to $7,000, I would say, to put one of those on. Because the theaters are around $1,200 to $1,500 to rent. Plus, then you have to pay for their tech and front of house and like random fees on top of that. So I think the fees for the Moncton theater came in at like $4,000. They're like $3,800, something like that. And then the marketing campaigns are anywhere from like, $1,500 to anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000 kind of is generally the range there. Then you have your travel, so flights, hotels, if you're renting a car, that kind of thing. And then if you have an opening act, paying them, sometimes get photographers to come out. So yeah, it's generally around like $6,000 to $7,000. And then you just hope that you sell more than that in tickets. So yeah, it's just been a very big learning curve of how to figure that out. And ticket price is a big one I found. You just gotta, like for a while there, I was doing like $20 tickets for a long time. But then you realize the $20 ticket, all of these venues too, they generally have their own box office so that they take ticketing fees. And so on a $20 ticket, you might only make, I'd say typically around $10 is what they take. So you'd only make like $10. So if you sell 100 tickets at $10, that's only $1,000, and that doesn't even cover the deposit. So you have to sell a ton of them. So then you got to start cranking that ticket price up to try and make it feasible to do. And that's why I think the smaller markets are the easier ones, because if you go to cities that are like 50,000 to 80,000 kind of range, usually when you're in town, there's only one theater in town, and then you can book that venue, and then you're like the guy in town that weekend. And so then you're not competing with other events generally. I mean, you will always be competing with events, but not on the scale of like when we're in Vancouver. Like I did a show in Vancouver at the Vogue Theater, and the night there was Adam Sandler was there. So now you're like trying to get people to come to your show instead of Adam Sandler. And the ticket prices are pretty comparable, because if you look at like our show, I think was like a $50 or $60 ticket. But then the cheap seats for Adam Sandler are $50 or $60. So then people are like, I can go see him. They're not the best seats, but you can still go see Adam Sandler for the same price that you could see whoever I am, And that was just learning through trial and error, trying to figure that out. Because the biggest thing is like, not a lot of people are coming. They're not like, oh my God, Alex Mackenzie's in town. What they're doing is they're like, I heard there's a comedy show at the theater this weekend. Let's go check it out. And you're selling more of an event than you are you. And that is, I just think that's the reality of it until you become a big name. And I mean, there's always people at the shows now. It's very exciting that are like coming out. And a lot of the time people are wearing some of my merch in the front rows and stuff, which makes me very happy seeing those people coming back out. But it's just been like a constant grind. One of the biggest struggles I would say that I've learned is cash flow. So when you book a venue, these theaters, like most of the towns only have one theater, like I said. And then everybody wants a Friday, Saturday. Like every producer wants a Friday, Saturday. And so that's only like 104 dates a year that are Friday, Saturday. And then you take out holidays and long weekends and stuff like that. So you end up with probably, 80 or 90 dates per town. So you have to actually start booking these well in advance. Like right now I'm booking into, January 15th, and I'm booking of 2025. I'm booking into February, March of 2026. I do have some dates on hold for as far as like October, November of 2026. And when you put these dates on hold, if you want to secure the date, a lot of the time you have to pay a deposit. So you have to give them $1,000 to hold that date. So I just had to do that for Saskatoon. February 28th, 2026, come to Saskatoon, get your tickets. So I had to give them $1,000. And now you don't see a dollar from that show until the show is completed. Until a year later, what is this, a year and a month, 13 months, they're gonna have that money before I see any money from that. So if you're booking like this tour, I think it's like 30 shows or something, it's like that's $30,000 in deposits you have to pay up front. And then you also have to do the marketing campaigns for them, which are, $1,000 to $1,500, like we kind of talked about. And then your travel and hotels. So you're putting out to do like a 30 show tour, it's like it can be close to $100,000 that you have to have kind of up front, unless you're using Eventbrite. If you can use Eventbrite and sell your own tickets, Eventbrite will give you weekly payouts, which was huge for me when I was starting. It's still huge now because cash flow is still probably my biggest issue. I burn my bank account down to zero pretty regularly. When I first started, it was in the RV. How it would go is, say that like I finished a show on the weekend, say that I got paid on Monday from my shows for the weekend. I would take that money. I would then book a future venue. So I would give $1,000 to someone to get another show booked. And then I would fill my fridge up with food. I would fill the RV up with gas. And then I would look at whatever I had left, like $500 or $700, and I would spend all of it on Facebook ads to market the next weekend's events. And then you would do that, and then you burn your bank account right down to zero. So embarrassing. You couldn't go on any dates. You couldn't ask anyone out. Like, there was just gym and going getting grocery, like eating at home in the RV in the Walmart parking lots, and doing that. Yeah. And so it was, it's just a constant grind. And I still do it at times, you know, like during that Hunger for Laughs tour, quite regularly, the bank account hits zero and it is stressful. And then you're like, okay, then you get a check for like 20 grand and you're like, all right. And then that is gone so fast because you're like, hey, we need to book more shows, do more marketing, pay everyone. And it just seems to be this cycle of doing that until eventually, hopefully, you start getting ahead. And it does feel like we're slowly getting there. Because I'm finally getting to the point, like this tour, I've got all the deposits paid and all of the stuff going, and I still have a little bit of money left. And you're like, okay, I think it's working. And it's just now to keep being very, very mindful of your spending, your personal spending, you know? You're like, okay, don't go and buy a new pair of Jordans, which I just bought another new pair. I got 4 pairs of Jordans now. Shh, don't tell my mom. She's going to be upset about that. She will not approve that on the books at all. So yeah, that's how I generally make my money, and it's just a giant risk every time. Like some shows you do very well, and then other shows don't do well. Like I think my Montreal show right now is doing terrible. I've got like 4 tickets sold, and the show's in like 3 weeks. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I gotta learn French, and then maybe that would help. I don't know. But sometimes shows just flop, and then all the money you made on the previous show goes to pay for the losses on the other one. And I don't know, I just really believe though that somewhere down the line it's all gonna work out and you're gonna be fine. And anytime I get sad about it, I go, man, like you're touring the country telling jokes, and you know, I don't wake up to an alarm clock anymore. That was always one of my goals, was like, if I can get to the point where I don't wake up to an alarm clock, I feel like I won life. And now I can wake up at my own accord and then get to work and do my thing. So yeah, that is kind of, I think that about covers it, you know? I am filming another special, so hopefully one day I can get one of those platformed and try and make money there. And yeah, just keep on keeping on, kid. You're doing it. It's going great. You're gonna be fine. Oh, and then also people are like, well, that's a lot of money, like to start up a business, like, oh, to have all that capital to do it. And I didn't have any of that. Like when I sold my house, I lost everything. Like I've given up everything and burned through it all. Like I burned through like all the money I had from my house when I sold it, my pension from the mill, I pulled that out and lost all of that money producing shows, like hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to put on these shows and figure it out. And then what I ended up doing, because I would go to the bank and I'm like, give me a loan. I got an idea for a tour. I want to try it. And they're like, we're not giving you any money. But what I found is like, there's got to be something like, what about entrepreneurs who have a business idea but don't have money to do it? And they let me know about a place called Community Futures. So if you have a business idea, they're pretty much all across Canada. They're a nonprofit organization that helps entrepreneurs start businesses. So you just go to them and they will help you out. They'll help you write a business plan. They'll help you get incorporated. They help you have to do sales forecasts for the next 3 years. And then they'll give you like a micro loan. They gave me a loan of like $25,000, and that's what I used to start my first tour. And I ran out of that money within like a month because I had to like pay all of my bills. So I had to pay all the deposits for all the venues and get some stuff going, and I was gone within the month. And then I had to go back to them, and I was like, look, man, I got no money, but I do have sales coming in. And I showed them that we had, $40,000 in sales or something that we would be getting later. So then they gave me another loan of $35,000, bringing it to $60,000 in total. And I used that $35,000 to produce the rest of the tour. And then good news, the tour lost $60,000. So at the end of it, I had zero, and I've been paying on a business loan now, $2,000 a month since then. And then you just keep on figuring it out. The next tour went a little better and a little better. And then, yeah. So this has been my episode on how to lose money doing comedy. So if you're interested, that's kind of how it all goes. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment. And don't forget to check out Punchline Nutrition and the Happy Camper Tour. All right, I love you guys. Take care and see you later.